Most English learners shadow for months, and nothing changes. Their accent stays the same, their confidence stays the same. They still freeze when someone speaks fast. If that sounds familiar, you are not doing anything wrong. You are just doing the wrong thing. Shadowing feels productive. You repeat, you mimic, you feel busy. But feeling busy and actually improving are two completely different things, and nobody talks about this. Here's the truth. Repeating words without understanding the feeling behind them is like copying someone's signature without knowing how to write. It looks similar, but it is empty. Think about the last time you shadowed a video. You repeated every word, you matched the speed, you felt great. Then someone asked you a question in real English, and your brain went completely blank. That feeling, that moment of silence, that is the gap shadowing is not filling. So what is actually missing? Native speakers do not think about words, they think about meaning. They think about feeling. When a native speaker says, "I'm not really sure about that," they are not reciting a phrase. They are expressing doubt. They are being polite. They are softening a disagreement. Three things happening at once, and shadowing alone never teaches you that. Listen to this. A learner says, "I do not agree with you." A native speaker says, I see what you're saying, but I'm not totally convinced." Same meaning, completely different feeling. One sounds like a debate, one sounds like a conversation. That difference is not vocabulary, it's emotional awareness. It's knowing how English feels, not just how it sounds. Now here's what you should do instead, and I want you to really pay attention to this part. It's called emotional anchoring, and it changes everything. Instead of repeating a sentence to match the sound, you repeat it to match the feeling. Let me show you. Say this, "Honestly, I had no idea." Now don't just say the words, feel slightly surprised. Feel like you're telling a friend something unexpected. Ready? Say it. "Honestly, I had no idea." One more time, a little more surprised. "Honestly, I had no idea." Do you feel that? That's not shadowing, that's speaking. Here's another one. Textbook English says, "I am very tired." Natural English says, "I'm absolutely exhausted." But emotional English says, "I'm done. I literally cannot." Listen to that last one again. "I'm done. I literally cannot." Native speakers say this all the time. It's dramatic. It's casual. It's real. Now you say it. "I'm done. I literally cannot." Faster this time. "I'm done. I literally cannot." Perfect. There's one thing native speakers do in almost every sentence that most learners completely skip over. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, let us talk about pausing, because this is huge and nobody teaches it. When you shadow without pausing, you're training your mouth, not your brain. Real fluency lives in the pause, in the half second before you speak. That is where native speakers find their words naturally, and you can train that right now. Here is how. Listen to a sentence. Stop the audio. Wait 2 full seconds. Feel the sentence. Then speak. Do not rush. That pause is not weakness. That pause is fluency loading. Try it with me. Listen. "You know what? I was actually kinda nervous." Now pause. Feel it. Maybe you're telling a friend about a job interview, maybe about meeting someone new. Now say it. "You know what? I was actually kinda nervous."
One more time, with that feeling. You know what? I was actually kinda nervous. That is the version that sounds human. Now, let's talk about that thing native speakers do in almost every sentence. Softeners. Little words that make English sound warm, relaxed, and natural. Words like kind of, sort of, a little bit, honestly. I mean, you know, like. These are not filler words, they're emotional tools. Robotic English says, "This is difficult." Natural English says, "I'm kinda just feeling like staying in, you know? Like nothing too crazy." Listen to how different that feels. I'm not really feeling it, you know? Now you say it. I'm not really feeling it, you know? Slower first. I'm not really feeling it, you know? Now at natural speed. I'm not really feeling it, you know? Yes, that's the version that sounds like you belong in the conversation. Here's a mini story. Imagine you're at a coffee shop with a friend. They ask you what you want to do this weekend. The old you says, "I want to stay at home and rest." The new you says, "Honestly, I'm kinda just feeling like staying in, you know? Like nothing too crazy." Which one sounds like a real person? Exactly. And the difference is not your grammar, it's not your vocabulary, it's your emotional delivery. Say it with me. Honestly, I'm kinda just feeling like staying in, you know? Take your time. Honestly, I'm kinda just feeling like staying in, you know? One more time. Completely relaxed. Honestly, I'm kinda just feeling like staying in, you know? Beautiful. Now, let's go deeper. Because here's something that will unlock your speaking in a way that hours of shadowing never will. Native speakers respond before they answer. Read that again. They respond before they answer. When someone asks a question, a native speaker does not just give information, they react first, then they answer. Someone asks, "Did you see that movie?" A learner says, "Yes, I watched it yesterday." A native speaker says, "Oh yes, oh my gosh, I did. What did you think?" See that? The "oh yes," the "oh my gosh" comes before the actual answer. That little moment is called a reaction phrase, and it makes you sound incredibly natural. Listen carefully to these reaction phrases. "Oh wow, actually yeah." "Wait, seriously?" "Oh, that's such a good question." "Honestly, same." "Right? Exactly." "No way, really?" These are the sounds of a real conversation, and you need to feel them, not just memorize them. Try this one. Someone tells you something surprising. You say, "Wait, seriously? I had no idea." Feel the surprise. Ready? "Wait, seriously? I had no idea." Again. "Wait, seriously? I had no idea." Faster. "Wait, seriously? I had no idea." That's the energy of natural English.
Here is another open loop for you. There is one mistake almost every intermediate learner makes when they try to sound natural. It actually makes them sound more robotic. We are almost there. But first, rhythm. Because English has a heartbeat, and once you feel it, you cannot unhear it. English is a stress-timed language. That means some words are heavy and some words are light. The heavy words carry the meaning. The light words just connect. Listen, I was thinking about going to the gym. Did you hear that? Thinking, going.
Gym. Those words are heavy. The others almost disappear. I was thinking about going to the gym. Natural, relaxed, rhythmic. Now you say it. Do not stress every word. Let the small words flow. I was thinking about going to the gym. One more time. I was thinking about going to the gym. That rhythm is what makes English sound like English. Now, here's that mistake I mentioned, the one that makes intermediate learners sound more robotic when they try to sound natural. It is overusing phrases without connecting them to real situations. When you say, you know, without actually sharing something personal, it sounds empty. When you say, honestly, before something that is not honest or emotional, it sounds copied. Native speakers use these phrases because they're in a real moment. They're sharing something real. So the trick is not to memorize the phrase. The trick is to connect the phrase to a genuine feeling when you practice. So don't just say, honestly, I was really nervous. Say it while imagining you're actually telling your best friend about a moment that made your heart beat fast. That mental image changes your voice. It changes your pace. It changes everything. Try it now. Think of something that actually made you nervous recently. Now say, honestly, I was really nervous. Feel it. Honestly, I was really nervous. One more time. Honestly, I was really nervous. Did you feel the difference? That's real speaking practice. Here's the thing about fluency that no one tells you early enough. Fluency is not about having zero mistakes. It's about having zero hesitation in your feelings. Confident English is not perfect English. It's emotionally connected English. The learners who break through to real fluency all have one thing in common. They stopped trying to sound like a dictionary. They started trying to sound like a person. You're closer than you think. The fact that you're here, practicing like this, means your brain is already rewiring. Every time you feel a phrase, instead of just repeating it, you're building a different kind of muscle, a speaking muscle, a thinking in English muscle. So here's your challenge. Today, take 3 phrases from this video, just 3. Honestly, I had no idea. I'm not really feeling it, you know? Wait, seriously? I had no idea. Use them in a real moment, or say them out loud, imagining a real moment. 3 times each with full feeling. Do that every day with new phrases, and in 3 weeks, you won't believe how different you sound. Not because you memorized more, because you started feeling more. Leave a comment right now. Tell me one situation where you want to sound more natural. A job interview, a conversation with a friend, ordering food, meeting someone new. Write it below. Because when you name the situation, your brain starts preparing for it. You're not just an English learner anymore. You're becoming an English speaker. And there's a massive difference between those two things.